Zone coverage, Jerry Fisher, Travis Johnson of the CDT, Tim Owen of Blue White Illustrated, and Jacob Cowker from WTAJ-TV. And we're very pleased to welcome Penn State Athletic Director Sandy Barbour to the, I guess you don't call this a studio. I guess you just welcome her to Autos. Good to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Let's get things rolling and see how things go. The Twitter world has blown up. You basically had stated that due to inappropriate and insensitivity was the reason you wanted the 409 stickers to not be on the ice hockey helmets. And I believe there was also talk about the warm-up jerseys for the men's basketball team, but that's a whole other thing. Can you explain why you used those two terms for the removal of the stickers?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to apologize for the tweet. This is far too important a subject to vet on a casual or in social media. So I'll use my own words. It was insensitive and inappropriate of me to do it from a tweet standpoint. But from the standpoint of my concern and why I have had conversations with our coaches about this is because this is a moment to celebrate, and I knew before I came to Penn State that 409 meant success with honor. That 409 means far more to this community and to this university than wins. But having come from the outside, I know that's not necessarily what everybody else knows or thinks, and frankly, I have in my 5 months here, I have learned so much more about Penn State and what an incredible place it is. I want the rest of the world to feel and see the same things that I have seen. And I thought it was really important that in this moment, in this very important moment, that we pause, and so that we can ensure that we got it right, so that not only would we be able to celebrate Joe Paterno's legacy and the young men who won those games, and that those were back and those were recognized, but we also could do it in a way that the rest of the world would understand that it wasn't just about the wins. And that's what that was about for me, wanting to do it in a holistic way so that the rest of the world would know what I know and now feel about Penn State.
Is that kind of leads me into what I wanted to ask you, Sandy, about when all of this stuff went down. Obviously you were at Cal, so you kind of have that unique perspective where you were on the outside when this went down, and now you're the AD at Penn State, obviously. So how have you maybe better learned to weigh those outside perceptions, against maybe what the Penn State community expects, and maybe what they the standards they will hold you to, if that makes sense?
Well, I think there are a couple of ways of looking at this, and I'm not talking. I'm not sure about the standards they'll hold me to.
Well, they expect you to kind of how to.
Yeah, I think that there are a couple of ways of looking at this, and one is that the rest of the world is going to think what they think, and we don't care. We are who we are, and we're proud of what. And I think that's awesome that we're proud of who we are and what we've done, because there's a lot to be proud of here. But I do think that there's a chance for us to tell a story, and for a lot of the rest of the world. I mean, there are people out there that will never change their mind. I understand that, but for a lot of the rest of the world to actually have an opportunity to know what I know now, what you all has always known, and what I know now, having had a more of an inside look, that there is so much good here, that Penn State has done this the right way. All the phenomenal things that this campus is doing around advocacy for child abuse and supporting it, and education. I mean, phenomenal things. And people who tweet things or say things or hold opinions that are contrary to that don't know. And I want a chance to tell that story. And I don't want us to do things that maybe put up barriers to others to having a chance to understand or having a chance to educate them.
You talked about that this is a moment to be happy about, this is a moment to celebrate, but this was not, in your opinion, the way to do it. What is the way to do it?
Well, I think it's over time. Are we afforded the opportunity to put back up the 2 Big Ten championships that those teams won that had been removed? Yes. I don't know that we need to make a lot of fanfare about it. They stand for themselves. And we now have the opportunity to put those back up and put those on display. I think that's a wonderful moment, again, for those young men and for our coaching staffs and for our community that we're behind that. I think we now have a moment, and there will be other moments along the way to start to figure out how we do honor Coach Paterno. How this university honors Coach Paterno. That's going to take time. It's important that we be really deliberate and we get that right for all the reasons that this has been, controversial and for a lot more. But the most important reason is what he has meant to this university, and we got to get it right and in a way that not only honors him, celebrates him, but also if we have an opportunity to educate folks on others outside of our community, on who he was, what he's meant to this university, how he impacted hundreds and thousands of lives of his student athletes, I think that's a great thing.
You don't want to put up. You said you didn't want to put up a barrier that other people couldn't see past. Why would this be? Why was this act a barrier in your opinion?
Well, again, maybe this is where my perspective from the outside comes in. I think others here understand this. I think others do because I hear it all the time that people don't understand. They do think 409 is just about the wins, and I want people to know that that's not right. That's not correct. I know that. I know it better today. This community's helped me to understand that. I know it better today than I did 5 months ago. But I did know that coming in here. And you asked about my perspective from having been at another institution. You know what? Honestly, when this happened, I said, therefore, by the grace of God, go any one of us. This could have happened on any one of our campuses. So this is not a moment to poke at Penn State. I certainly have never believed that before I was the Penn State certainly long before I was the Penn State AD. But I think we got to be really, really thoughtful so that we don't do things that all the things we do, all of our efforts are targeted at celebrating and educating.
Guy Godowski's taken quite a bit of flack as well for this. The radio show earlier today.
He's had to kill a lot of penalties today.
And all of that is really unfair.
I just wondered, what has been your interaction with the guy then since then? And have you talked to him today since that radio interview?
I have talked to Guy, and the first thing I said to him is Guy, my comments were never intended to denigrate your guys or you or your coaching staff. I understand what they did. They celebrated, and I get that. But again, once I talked to him about pausing and what are kind of all the things that have to be considered here, he was totally on board. I don't want him to be beat up over this. That's yeah. Well, but he also got killed by the advocates side of this, and I think just as we have to understand and be sensitive to the victim side, there also needs to be some understanding of why we would celebrate.
All right, we've got to take a short break. We're talking to Sandy Barbour, Penn State Athletic Director. Zone coverage from Otto's Pub and Brewery with a good full house here tonight. We'll be back with more with Sandy Barbour right after this.